There can be quite a lot to think about when adding a user into Hudu. What role level, permissions, and companies should this user have access to? When we are getting ready to add a user and we have available licenses in our instance, we can start by going to the admin section and clicking on users. If I want to add a singular new user, I can click the Invite New Users button, which allows me to add however many users I would like. But if I wanted to add users in bulk, I could also use a bulk CSV import to add my users that way. Clicking into the Invite a New User tab, I can add the new user's email and select their role level. Hudu has 6 different role levels to choose from. Portal members are your completely free users who are read-only access through the portal. The other 5 levels are all going to be considered a licensed user. From spectator all the way to super admin, there are varying degrees of abilities such as admin tools, documentation tools, and editing rights. Once you know what role level you would like your user to be, you can now add them to a group or groups of your choosing. This is why it is important to have groups created before adding users, so that way you can easily place a user into their designated groups when adding them into Hudu. Now that the permissions and role level have been applied to this user, I could go ahead and invite that user to my instance. Now that we've gone over adding users to Hudu, let's talk about the user management side of things and how you can consistently make sure your users are only seeing and accessing the things that they should be. As I click back into my user section, here I see a list of all the current users within my instance. From this dashboard, I can manage all internal, external portal members, and archived users. Now, if I want to go view one of my users and make sure they have the permissions I want applied and see other information on said user, I can simply click into them. Now that I've clicked into this user, I can see their role level, if they have additional security measures set up, and how often they've signed in. I can also see how much documentation they've contributed to and what companies they interact the most with. Rather than viewing all of this information in various other places in Hudu, the users page will show me all of it in one central location. On the user dashboard page, I can select what groups I want this user to be a part of. This can be extremely beneficial as in addition to creating groups and adding users to them, you can simply add users to groups from their user page. One benefit of this is new users coming into your environment. You have the ability to customize everything you need and add them to the proper groups directly from this page. When you do add a user to groups on this page, you will go ahead and see that each group will say either allow list or deny list. This refers to the companies that this group has access to, either denying or allowing them to see certain companies. Not only that, but if I needed to make changes to this user, I can easily do so. I have the ability to edit their role level, archive them, and reset their password. So now that we've added a user and selected the permissions we want for them, the last thing I can do is impersonate that user. This can be very useful if you ever want to view what your other role levels see when they access Hudu, essentially being able to see your instance from their perspective to confirm the permissions they have is what you intended. As I click Impersonate User, this will take me to the dashboard of what this user sees when they log in. You'll notice that some things look different now, as I don't see the admin section as this user. As I click into the Companies tab, I can now go check in on what other documentation this user currently has access to. You can see that this group's permissions has allowed this user to only view one company throughout our Hudu instance. Overall, the users section of Hudu allows you to manage and monitor your technicians, making sure that each user has the proper permissions applied to them. If you ever need to validate this, simply go to their user page and all of the necessary user management features will be there.